Hi. Hi, Emma. It's 5 o'clock and it's Amy, and I'm ready to do some yoga. I hope you are too. I've got my lovely Mytree yoga t-shirt on. Live yoga, love life, saying that backwards on it. And I hope you are doing well tonight. I'm very excited about yeah, it's nice to be back. I agree. I'm always excited about my classes that I'm going to teach, but this one is really, really interesting because we're going to go really deep into an understanding of the diaphragm and how that matters in all of our movements and how it's related to the breath. Um, if you're not familiar much with the diaphragm, I always like to give my little kind of quick explanation before we move to understand it. And I think one of the best ways to get a sense of what the diaphragm is, and maybe I just take this up for a little bit first, is to feel it. Feel where that muscle is in your body. And what I would first say is if you can just kind of put your fingers right below your sternum, so that's that center bony part of your body, and then you've got your rib cage that expands from there. So oftentimes, if you feel a bit under there, that's a little soft. Okay, that muscle is something to notice if it's tender. We can hold a lot of tension there because it's also associated with our fight or flight reaction. And all this area beneath is completely connected to the diaphragm. In fact, there's 7 organs that are actually connected via ligaments to the diaphragm. But to go right into the diaphragm, which is this dome-like muscular structure that divides the upper part of your torso with the lower part of your torso. So let's just take our fingers and kind of feel under your rib cage. And what you're touching there is the diaphragm. The diaphragm, although it's dome-like, it's also helpful to understand that it rises up high too, right? So there's the attachment is not just like a straight line. So just get a sense of that by moving across. Yeah. You can just come all the way back, maybe kind of really push into this. And as you're holding under your rib cage, take a couple breaths there. So what you can feel maybe is some sensitivity, maybe some tenderness. And what happens as we're breathing, now this was kind of my 101 when I started to really have an aha moment about the breath, is this diaphragm pushes down, right? It's like it's becoming much lower. And what happens when that diaphragm goes down, the lungs have more space to go down. So you have more space for oxygen to come into the body. So that is a very important thing. The whole belly comes out. And the other thing that's amazing about the diaphragm is that we can learn to control it, right? So the diaphragm just moves on its own. Breath just happens all the time. But it's that one muscle in the body that both is involuntary and voluntary. So just as an example, as you're just sitting here right now, as we're talking, the diaphragm's moving, right? But we're not really paying any attention to it. It's just happening. But now if we really want to take a conscious breath where we move the diaphragm, we can take a deep inhale, letting the diaphragm go down, and then exhale, kind of squeeze. As you squeeze, the diaphragm actually comes up to its resting place. Okay. So when it's going down, strangely enough, that's a contraction. I know it's very counterintuitive, but really helpful to understand in yoga. And then the other thing I learned today, because I always am studying new things and I didn't know this before, was that the diaphragm is just not one solid muscle. It's actually almost 2 muscles. And you can think of it, the reason they see it as being one is it's joined together in the center. And the other thing that's interesting about it is your right side is a little higher then the left side. And then where it divides is a little bit to the left, and that has to do with the placement of the heart. So, enough details, technology. Let's get into feeling the diaphragm in the body. So, I'll ask you to lie on your back. We need lots of props today. If you have, I'm guessing you don't have a sandbag. I don't have one, but a block or a book is a fine example. The weight idea, if something's heavier, can make this pretty interesting, this exercise. But since it's not something we usually have at home, let's just play with the idea of having a little bit of weight. So take your blanket or your cushion, and you're gonna put that under your knees. And then you can take, if you've got 1 or 2 blocks, we'll use both blocks. Just to get a little added weight. And then you're gonna slowly lie down on your back, okay? And once you're on your back, you're gonna take your weights, your books, your blocks, and you're gonna put them right on top of your lower rib cage. And you might even feel that's an interesting effect, what happens. Because sometimes this weight lets the body relax a little bit more. And then as you're ready, you're gonna stretch out your legs and the knees will be supported by the pillow. So we're in I'm using lots of props today in class, but if you don't have them, we can find alternatives. So when you're here, just want you to slowly relax. And if it's too awkward having 2 blocks, you can maybe do 1. Just see if you can feel the balance. And just be conscious of that area in the diaphragm we were talking about. So sort of at the front, the base of the rib cage. Just feeling into the breath. You might notice already this kind of brings a sense of relaxation into the body. Now, slowly remove your blocks. Even though it's not a lot of weight, just move the blocks and place your hands back to where they were. And just notice the feeling now. Maybe a little more sense of freedom, opening. Now just let the body completely relax. So in a supported Shavasana, we're going to start our class by letting go. Consciously releasing any remaining thoughts, tension in the body. So we can start fresh. And just enjoying this slow, gentle rhythm of the breath. Just begin to notice breath coming into the nostrils, moving down through the torso, through the throat to the torso, all the way to the low belly. So there's this sense of energy that's coming in and passing down in past this diaphragm. There's like a draw into the center. And then you can just place your right hand on your belly. And place your left hand on your heart center. Just notice the movement in the body with the breath. Coming to a sense of deep relaxation. Draw your other hand up now to cover the other hand on your heart. And set an intention for your practice. Maybe it's just to learn something new. My teacher Indu says, each new learning is a form of awakening. Each new thought. And then you can release your hands to the side. Bend your legs, gently open your eyes, and remove your cushion to the side. And then we're just going to place our lumbar spine really strongly onto the floor. We're just going to squeeze into that and do a little lift. And then inhale. So begin this kind of rocking back and forth in the spine. And maybe perceiving as you do this on the exhale, the contact of the lower rib cage, right where the diaphragm pushes into the earth. And then you can take your hands behind your head. And then as you squeeze into the floor this time, just lift up, look forwards, squeezing into the belly. Inhale, release back down. Arching the back. Squeeze in on the exhalation, lifting up. Elbows are coming towards the knees. Exhale, release back down. Inhale, exhale. This time hold. So you're going to hold up, but keep breathing here. And as you're breathing, can you squeeze a little bit more? So you can maybe feel the squeezing action towards your navel center, but also the back towards the floor. Take 3 more breaths here. And then very slowly, on your next inhalation, you're going to open yourself all the way down to the floor. And then keep your hands under the head, supporting it. And then try to see if you can relax the whole spine onto the earth. And just listen. Simple, simple movement, but already is stirring the pot. And let's now inhale, arch our back. This time we're going to exhale. We're going to lift our left elbow to our right knee, just like a little sit-up. Then we're going to go to the other side. Squeezing on the exhalation. Inhaling. And maybe if it feels comfortable, you're going to try to have the elbow touch the knee. Nice and slow with the breath. And if your breath is faster, you can go faster. Trying to let the breath lead the movement. We'll do 2 more. This side. And we end up on the left knee, touch the right. Exhale, release. Take your arms down by your side and just relax. Take a couple breaths. Again, observe the effect of the action. Now, taking your right knee up, right leg up, bend the right knee, come right on top of your left knee. Lift the left leg up. Come and grab the knee from the center, coming back up. Now, once you're up, slowly come back onto your spine as you draw the knee towards you, feeling the work happening in your right hip. Notice what's going on with your breath. Squeezing in. Release your leg. Take a twist to the right side. Turn towards the left side. Take your left arm wide, but then take your right hand and just feel into the diaphragm on the right side. Notice, now when you're doing this, you're stretching a bit. Notice maybe a little tenderness coming into that area we were massaging earlier. You can even go a little bit lower, because it's also where it's contacting different parts of the organs as we're twisting these organs here. Come back to center. Stretch the right leg up. Exhale all the way down, straightening out the leg. And then take your left leg straight before we do the other side. Take a moment to notice the asymmetry, the lack of symmetry in the body once you've done one action on one side. And then let's inhale our arms all the way above us. Hook the thumbs together. Bring your heels together as you stretch the body. Inhale, pushing the lower rib cage into the floor. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, squeezing down into the floor. Inhale, soften. Bring the knees back up. Take the left leg up. Bend your left foot on top of your knee. Come up first and grab the knee so you've really extended your back. And then you're going to draw the knee back towards you. Stretching into the left hip. Taking deep breaths, squeezing into the belly on the exhalation. You can even play with just a regular breath and notice the difference. What's happening when you're kind of controlling the breath. You're using the diaphragm, you're using muscles to affect how the breath moves in the body. Trying a little deeper. And then when you're ready, we're going to release this foot down. Twisting to the left side this time. And now you're going to be getting into the left rib cage, or if you did the other side. Notice right now, maybe just for a second, notice there's space in the right side. It's going to feel a little more relaxed. And you come into the left side. Trying to get in there into that tissue under there. Might be sensitive. Inhale, back to the center. Straighten the leg out. Stretch your arms above your head. Hook the thumbs, the other one on top this time. Inhale, lengthen this time. Point the toes, point the fingers. Now, as you exhale, squeeze all the way until it was like you're squeezing into your umbilical, that everything is squeezing into the center. Inhale, relax. One more time. Exhale, squeeze, pushing it down into the earth. Exhale, relax, release the hands, the arms, and just rest here. Rest here for a couple breaths. Just notice the simple actions, what's happening in the body. And then we're going to bend our knees, place our feet on the floor. Keeping our arms above our head. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, coming up into a sweeping whoosh. Here we go. Inhale. 5 times. Inhale. One more, squeezing into the belly, letting it all out. One more. Now hold. Squeeze a little more. Wrap your elbows around your knees, grabbing each elbow, squeezing into the center as much as you can. Inhaling, exhale, squeezing. Take your hands now behind your thighs and begin to roll up on your spine, taking about 3 or 4 rolls. And on the next one, we'll come all the way up and over to all fours. How's it going? Good? Okay, so we're here on all fours. And just notice the difference, like we've been on our back, and notice what it's like to be on your hands and your knees now. Feeling that the hands are activating, they're pushing into the earth. Let's take our toes so they touch the earth. This helps to activate our feet. So we're activating the first diaphragmatic forms in the body, right? The base of the feet, that little curve, the base of the hands. Okay, from those places, imagine that you're drawing in energy to your center line. And then release. Draw in as you look up. Exhale now, push back into the earth. Cat-cow. Inhale, lengthening. Exhale, squeezing in. Inhale, lengthen. And then mentally, can you locate your diaphragm when you're doing this? Can you have a sense of what's happening, the movement you're doing with this? Nice. And then we're going to come to center. Just flatten the tops of your feet on the earth. And now on our next inhalation, lengthen the right side. So when I mean lengthen, it's kind of strange. So lengthening from this shoulder to the right hip. And then as you exhale, you're going to squeeze and kind of turn towards your right hip and right shoulder. And they're coming towards each other. So you're doing a lateral, a sideways twist. So you're compressing the right side, giving more space to the left side of the diaphragm. Inhale back to center. Exhale, other side, squeezing into the left side. Inhale back to center. Exhale to the right side. Take a few breaths here. One more. Come back to center. And then inhale, exhale, squeeze the other side. Notice here you're getting expansion on the right side of your body. And then we're going to inhale back to center. Again, just take a moment to notice the effect. What is the effect of this on your body? And as you're ready, we're going to come up to our first down dog. Pushing the hands into the earth, lifting, keeping the knees bent as you lift the hips nice and high. Nice and high. And just pedal out the feet for a moment. Now, take the feet as wide as your mat and keep the heels a little bit high as you need. Bend the knees a little bit first. So the idea is you're kind of having the torsos moving towards the thighs. So you're extending the spine, right? And then you're going to slightly release the heels. And now just have the vision, if you will, of a balloon pushing up here. So if you imagine if I take my pillow, it's like lifting me up, feeling that lift. So what happens as you do this lift, your back heels are going to lift. As your back heels lift, the legs can be straight, but there's still a reaching upwards of the body. You're going to feel more extension in your torso. And this gives so much space to the belly to release, which gives a lot of space to the diaphragm to come down. And then you can just walk your feet back into a regular down dog position. Just maybe notice how that feels in the front line of your body. Now let's take a roll forwards into our plank position. Feeling the length extending from those feet to the crown of the head. And as you're ready, bend your elbows back as you come all the way to the earth. Then inhale, take a tiny cobra up here. Exhale, back down. Take your right hand on top of the left. Feet turn outwards into Makarasana, crocodile pose. And just take a couple breaths here, noticing the belly as it pushes down. Maybe even feeling the contact of the diaphragm with the floor. And just for fun, have the image of the diaphragm in the back. And as it moves down the back, as it pushes down the back, the organs move to the earth. You might feel a little more expansion in your back as you do this. It's such a soft motion. It's like a jellyfish as it kind of floats and goes in and out with the tides. Now as you're ready, take your right leg close to your left leg. Place the hips on the floor. Draw the toes together. And then we're going to take our hands next to our chest. And before we come up into our cobra pose, really have this feeling of grounding the legs to the earth. Like there's nothing else that they can't lift up. They're pushing into the earth. Tops of the feet push into the earth. And then all the action is going to come as we lift from the back of our spine, lifting up, lifting up, lifting up, feeling that diaphragm from the back, pushing up. Looking forwards. Exhale, back down. 2 more times. Inhale. Exhale. Push the pubic bone into the earth. Activate the belly. And as you inhale, it's like the top's going to float up. Imagine that balloon is underneath you, pushing you up. Exhale, back down. And 1 more time, legs are nice and active. Inhale, exhale, preparing. Inhale as you float up. Exhale, back down. Take the toes, push them down into the earth. Place the hands. And as you're ready, we're going to push up to our chaturanga. And think about everything coming together in the center line. And it's like that balloon now is lifting you up. As you inhale, exhale, squeeze, push up. And as you're ready, push all the way up, lifting the balloons, lifting you up really high. All the way to your down dog. And then exhale, release the heels to the earth. And take a couple breaths here in your down dog. Now, for a lot of us, we can have different parts of our body that are tight, hamstrings, for example. So you might need a little bend in your knee. That's perfectly fine. It's not trying to get this idea of a perfect yoga pose. It's what's right for you right now. And every day it changes. As you're ready, let's take our right leg, lifting it up behind us. Bend your knee. Inhale to bring the right leg forwards. Exhale, release the left knee down to the earth. Take a moment as you come up, coming into this side. Pulsing a little bit back and forth. We're going to open the hip joint like this. Release your hands. Take your right foot forwards. Fold in. Inhale, lifting up all the way to standing. Exhale, hands to your heart center. Then release your hands. Let's inhale again. Exhale, come all the way down to the earth. Step back to your down dog. Inhale, lift the left leg, bend your knee, bring it forwards. Same thing, just a low lunge where we kind of pulse forwards. You can have your hands on your knee or maybe just fingertips on the earth is good. Inhale, bring your right foot forwards. Bend your knees. Inhale, all the way up to standing. Exhale, hands to the heart center. And now we're going to grab our straps. And we're going to have a little more of an experience of working with the diaphragm. I'm going to take this off because I got a little warm. Okay, so everyone grab your strap. And the strap is going to come right where the diaphragm is. So it's sort of right in between. It's above your navel center, but below your sternum, your center of your heart. Now, have it tight enough that it stays, but not so it's really constricting you. Okay. So you've got your strap here. And just come to Tadasana first to start. So we're coming to a standing pose. Right, you feel it now, exactly. As you inhale, there's this expansion. As you exhale, you release. Close your eyes. Keeping your eyes closed, take your hands and raise them above your head. Your palms are going to face each other. Ground into your feet. So in other words, push into your heels, push into the base of your big toe, base of your pinky toe. Find those four corners. If you need to open your eyes, that's okay. Legs are very active. Lifting up the kneecaps. Belly is just softly drawing back. And just feel what's going on with the diaphragm now. Now we're going to open our eyes. Come to the top of your mats. Keep the strap on. Exhale, hands all the way down to the earth. And then you're going to step back into a down dog. Keeping the strap on, noticing if you have to adjust it. Now, in down dog, notice what's happening below the strap and above. We're going to take 5 breaths like this. You see this shelf we have in our body, in kind of esoteric terms, it's the dividing line between our earthly kind of human self and our more spiritual self. The elements of earth, water and fire all below here. And then we have to rise above to get into the air and space. There's a sort of alchemy that takes place when we learn to use the breath. And then your next inhalation, come forwards to your plank pose. And release your knees down. We're going to come into Virasana. Just sitting here. Maybe if you need to tighten it a little bit, that's fine. We'll just take a moment to observe the breath here now. Sitting comfortably on their heels. If this is too much, you can always put a blanket between your heels and your seat. Maybe noticing the breath on the left side of the body. Kind of sensing the dome shape of your left diaphragm and the dome shape of your left nostril. And then draw your awareness to the right side of the body, sensing the right dome of the diaphragm and the right nostril. Very subtle work. And either keeping the strap on if it's still comfortable, or you can remove it. We're going to practice a little bit of Kapalabhati. So you can place your hands on your belly if you want to kind of get the sensation of feeling it. Or if you just want your hands on your thighs, that's fine, whatever's most comfortable. So let's take a deep inhalation. Exhale through the mouth to start. Kind of discharging. Inhale, begin. Keep going. As you're exhaling, you're pumping and you're squeezing into the navel center. Excuse me, make funny sounds when I'm talking. Keep going. Pause, take a couple regular breaths. Notice the effect. Now, when you're doing the breathing, think about really squeezing in below the navel center. So you're going a little bit lower and see what happens when you breathe like that. Ready, begin. Take a couple of regular breaths. The action is solely down here. No movement in the shoulders. We have this active pumping that's caused by how we're playing with the diaphragm. We'll do the last round, 15. Ready, begin. And relax, close your eyes. You just notice an energetic change in the quality of your interior space. You can slowly open your eyes and we'll remove the strap now. Are you feeling it? Are you noticing? It's really interesting when we draw our awareness to a place, energy follows. And it changes your practice when you start to notice parts of your body that we really haven't paid attention to much before. And considering that the diaphragm is the main place, the main muscle we use for breathing, along with our intercostal muscles, which are the muscles in between the ribs, There are other muscles as well, but those are the main ones that we use. And when we become aware of this action, it really will start to change how your practice evolves. Okay, so coming up onto our knees, let's take our hands on our hips. Bring the left leg forwards. And just face forwards for a moment, getting comfortable. And take your hands above you. And then hands can come behind, grabbing your head, lifting up. Now first start with the stability. The feet are really active. You can lift your toes up first in the front, finding the four corners of your toes, and slowly release them down, drawing up through the center of your foot, pushing the back foot into the earth. Drawing up mentally from the foot to the heel to the left knee, feeling that stability. Drawing in from the knee into your left hip and beginning to open as you turn to the right side. Taking a few breaths here. We're going to stay here for a bit. And notice sometimes the tendency when you're staying in a pose, the tendency to want to move out of it. A simple pose, but there's an activity, right? The arms are up. That already requires the heart to work harder. And notice what's going on around the diaphragm. There's a twisting, a squeezing of the diaphragm. You can deepen your breath into an Ujjayi breath. On the next exhalation, we're going to come back to center. Lift the arms up. Release the hands down. Take your left knee back. And just sit for a moment, observing the difference each side. And then we're going to open our eyes. And we're going to switch to the other side. So bringing your right foot forwards now. Again, first find the stability here. So sometimes we're in a pose and we're too much in our head, but we really want to find our connection with the physical body, the physical plane that we're on, right? We have all this stability. And then we're going to take our arms up. Exhale, turn around. And notice this side might feel different than the other side. One side might feel easier to squeeze. As you push into that right foot, you feel a little bit more opening as you turn to the left side. Remember maybe to smile. Drawing the shoulder blades towards each other. Feeling where is there tension building up in the body here? And where is there space? Slowly, slowly turn back to center. Inhale, lift the arms up. Exhale, release. Draw your left knee back. And come down into a child's pose. And just notice what is falling away. What are you able to release right now? The sits bones move towards the heels. And you can roll up to all fours. Push yourself back up to your down dog. Lift up the right leg, bend your knee, inhale, bring it to the front of the mat, and then bring the left one to join you. Folding in for a moment, inhaling all the way up to standing. Exhale, hands to the heart center. And now we're going to take our right foot back a little bit. And then we're just going to bend our left knee. Place your hands on your hips for a little bit. So this is like you're coming into a warrior one, but it's going to be different. We're going to go into a fold first. So come up to your warrior one for a moment and just feel that sense of expansion from your back heel all the way up to your hip. All the way up to where there's that little curve in your spine. Your umbilical's there. Okay, so that's your lower half of your body, right? And then as you breathe, you feel the inhale up from there to the center. Exhale back down. And this time now, inhale all the way up to your fingertips. Exhale down to the earth. And then imagine breathing from your fingertips down to your belly. Exhale from your belly down to the earth. So feel what happens when you shift how you breathe. Inhale, fingertips to belly. Exhale, fingertips to the earth. Inhale from the earth, from your foot up to the belly. Exhale up to your fingers. One more time. From the earth up to your belly. Exhale up to your fingers. Now this time, inhaling from your fingers to your belly. Exhale, we're going to fold forwards all the way down to the earth. Bring the foot a little bit more forwards now. So there's only about a foot in between the two. The back leg's straight. The front leg is slightly bent. And you're going to fold in all the way. You're going to take your right hand on top of your left hand. And you're going to exhale as you release down. We're going to stay here for a bit. So there's a slight bend in your left knee, back leg is straight. Now, the inhale is soft here. But on the exhale, can you squeeze in? As you squeeze, you're releasing more. Very slowly, inhale, look up. Take your hands to your knee. Staying low, the spine now is going to be parallel to the floor. Stay here for a couple breaths. Harder than it looks, right? Inhale all the way up to standing. Exhale, release, bring your foot back. Again, just take a moment to notice the asymmetry in the body. And then we're going to switch to the other side. Okay, so starting in our warrior one, we're going to bend a little bit into this knee. It's not like a full warrior one, it's kind of a softer version. Inhale the arms up. And then just notice, like, without even thinking about how you're breathing, what's happening. Can you watch yourself breathing here? Now you're going to play with the breath, maybe using an ujjayi breath. As you inhale, exhale, squeeze into the center. Inhale, exhale, squeeze into the center. It's like a wringing out. Inhale, exhale, fold forwards all the way. This time take the left hand on top of the right, bring the left foot slightly forwards, bending down, releasing the head. And just notice what's going on with your breath right now. The back foot can come even a little bit closer. Yeah. Pushing the hands into the earth. Really squeezing on the exhalation, just softening on your inhale. On your next inhalation, bring your hands to your knee. Lengthen the spine so you're parallel to the earth. And take a few breaths here. And then slowly push yourself all the way up to standing. And let's shake it out a little bit. Let me just pay attention to what our time is. There's never enough. I always want more. Just shake your hands out a little bit. Shake out your legs. So, next pose is a more traditional one. We're going to go into half moon. And see, when you're in this, see if you can pay attention to this part of the body, to the diaphragm, and just see how that affects what you're doing. Take your blocks, just to help you get into the pose. You may not need both. Sometimes I just use one. In fact, that's what I'm going to do. And I find the easiest way to get into half moon is just to bend my knee and place my hand right on top of the block. Okay, now I'm trying to first get my body parallel to the earth. So when I do that, I kind of move the block to find the right distance in my torso. And then you can keep your hand on your hip and then push up. Just first of all, looking down at the earth, and find the stability first in your leg and your hand, and then you're going to open your hip. So that left hip is really stacking on top of the right hip. The stability in the leg is all about the outer right heel and lifting up the right knee, and then you can peel yourself open. Now maybe play with touching the lower rib cage and feeling the expansion in your diaphragm. As you're ready, you can maybe extend the upper arm. And if you feel comfortable, you can turn your head towards the ceiling. And then bend your knee and come all the way back into a warrior two. Release the leg. That was a long hold, so the leg might be a little bit tired. And it's interesting when you're in that. Did you notice, is your breath really hard? Is it soft? Like, how are you easing into the position? The more you do yoga, the longer you do it, it's less forcing yourself into the position. it's finding the position from the breath. And I know it sounds a little strange, a little bit esoteric, but the more you practice, you do start to feel it. It doesn't mean that it's still not effort. It's just different. It's just different. Okay, other side. So placing your block in the right position. And sometimes I find keeping my fingertips down helps first. So I really get that steadiness in my leg. And then I open the hip. And I find the placement of the block really matters too. Again, maybe playing with touching your lower ribs on this side. Finding out where are those ribs, right? Maybe holding your hand there so you can feel the expansion and the contraction. Maybe even visualize it as you lift up your arm. If you want to look up, you can also try keeping your fingers together. Oops! Too many cues. And then as you're ready, we're going to come down to a warrior two. Finding your warrior two. Exhale, release the hands. And then we'll come to the top of our mats. And just take our arms all the way up. Exhale, all the way down. Release, look up halfway. Then step back to your down dog. Really feeling the extension in the down dog. Coming forwards onto your knees. Sitting back on your knees. And then I have so many more things I want to do, but not enough time. So we are actually going to go right into our inversion for the day. And I'm going to do a really simple one. I always offer you the chance to do something different. If you have a headstand practice, you can do that. But today, I just want to do a supported bridge. And this can be done with the block at this height, or this height. So for me, today, it feels good enough that I'm going to put it right under my sacrum here. And I find having the block, I was going to say going the long way across the buttocks helps me. And this is really just a lovely way to get the heart above the head, but not with so much effort. It's a beautiful opening across your lower abdominals and your hips. Once you're in it, you can just close your eyes. Noticing the natural chin lock that develops here. There's a natural Jalandhara Bandha that happens here. Maybe noticing how relaxed the breath becomes. Becoming aware of what's happening around your abdominal area, around the diaphragm. If you're comfortable, you can even maybe put your fingers around the diaphragm and feel it here. So this is a point where it might feel nicer to just touch the area below your rib cage towards the outer side. You might find some tenderness there. And as you give a little massage there, it's going to probably feel pretty good. And then you can release your hands down. Maybe noticing that there's even more relaxation happening in the back body the longer you stay here. There's a softening. And then to come out of this, we're going to lift our heels. You might move your toes a little bit closer. Lift your heels, move the block. Keep the heels up for a moment. If you want to go for it, just try putting your thumbs right under your hips. See how that feels. You're seeing how much more extension you can get because you've had it lifted up. And then you can slowly release the heels down. And then release your hands, your arms, and slowly release the whole back down to the earth. Keep the knees bent for a bit. And just notice how the spine feels on the ground. Notice the quality of your breath, the fluidity in the body. And then we're going to take a very simple twist to the right, just by bringing your your left knee up to your chest and straightening out the right leg. Just really squeeze the left knee into your chest. And then place the left foot on the right knee, and then you can twist to your right side. Opening the body to the left side, trying to keep both shoulders on the ground. And noticing where is the twist in the body. Right around where our diaphragm is. And then you can inhale back to center, draw this knee towards you, bring your other knee towards you, and then just roll a little bit on your low back, giving a little support, a little rubbing after we were in that bridge. And take your left leg out, straightening out the foot, place the right foot on the left, and then you're going to twist to the left side. And you can come back to center and take both knees up to the chest and then take them a little bit wider. Just do some circles in your hips. Releasing any tension that remains there. You can make them nice and wide. You can go the other direction. And take your hands behind your thighs, straighten out the legs. Maybe do a little pointing and flexing. And then bring your arms up. Do the same thing with your hands, kind of a back and forth. And then holding your hands and your feet up, palms face each other, push the torso into the earth. Really push down. Push the umbilical down to the earth. You're trying to get the whole spine touching the earth. Feel that contact. And then soften the position. And you can gently release your arms above your head. Release the legs all the way down. As you inhale, giving yourself a big stretch. Exhale, release, and just slide the arms down to your side. Slide your legs open into Shavasana. And just letting the body become super soft. Just releasing any tension that remains. Feeling this incredible support of the earth below. And feeling the movement of the breath in the body. Noticing the movement of the diaphragm. And then if you find any place else still has a little bit of tension, sometimes it helps to squeeze into that area as you inhale. And then you can exhale, release. Letting the eyes soften, the corner of the eyes. letting the jaw relax. Allowing the head to release any holding, any gripping in your thoughts. Let the thoughts enter, but then let them move on. Sensing a spaciousness across the chest, a releasing of tension in the shoulders, a releasing of the grasping of the hands. Let the hands receive. Let the breath just flow in and out, letting the diaphragm move in its magical, involuntary way. Belly soft, hips are open and receptive. Legs are completely relaxed. Even the feet and the toes release all gripping. The body just floats. Just like a jellyfish floating in the ocean, moving in and out. The waves come and go, the waves of the breath. And the mind starts to relax. The mind just starts to go with the flow. And the movement becomes softer and softer, calmer and calmer. From this place of stillness and calm. Notice the breath as it enters your nostrils. Begin to deepen the breath intentionally. Bringing a sense of vitality into the body. Exhaling, inhaling deeply. And begin to start to awaken your fingers and your toes as you make small movements, letting the thumb touch every finger, and open and closing your toes. You can start to move your ankles and your wrists. As you're ready, lift the arms above your head, making bigger movements, letting the energy increase in the body. And then you can bend your knees, bring your hands next to your hips, and then draw your knees to your chest, squeezing into the center. Maybe rolling back and forth a little bit if that feels good. And then rolling to your side. And then gently pushing yourself up to a seated position. And once you've found your comfortable seated position, let's close our practice chanting together. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you for joining. Oh, beautiful, beautiful evening here. I will see you on Friday, Emma. And I hope you have fun observing your breath this week. And wishing you all a good night, a good day for whoever sees this someday. Take care. Bye.